People often say that triplets share a special connection, one stronger than that of regular siblings. Growing up, I believed that was true for Rachel and me. We looked exactly alike, but our personalities couldn't have been more different. I was careful and cautious, while Rachel thrived on taking risks. Despite that, we were inseparable as kids. But high school changed everything. Rachel became part of the popular crowd, and I focused on my studies. Gradually, we drifted apart. The long talks we used to have in our shared bedroom became shorter and shorter, eventually turning into nothing more than brief greetings in the hallway. By senior year, we were like strangers sharing the same house. One night at dinner, Rachel suddenly dropped a bombshell. "I'm moving in with Mark." She was 19, fresh out of high school, and madly in love with her wealthy boyfriend. Mom almost choked on her coffee. "But what about college?" she asked. Rachel shrugged, twirling her spaghetti. "College isn't for everyone. Mark says I don't need to worry about that. He'll take care of everything." I looked at Dad and saw the same worry in his eyes that mirrored my own. But once Rachel made up her mind, there was no changing it. Within weeks, she was married and living in Mark's mansion across town. I, on the other hand, stayed focused on my college education. While Rachel had her first baby at 21, a beautiful boy. I buried myself in studying for finance exams. A year later, she had a daughter. By the time I graduated with honors and started my career in banking, Rachel seemed to have the perfect life. A rich husband, 3 wonderful kids, and a life of luxury. But appearances can be deceiving. While Rachel seemed to have everything, my life wasn't as flawless. I married 3 years after finishing school. My marriage brought me happiness, but it didn't bring children. The doctor's final verdict was clear: infertility. That word weighed heavily on me, crushing dreams I didn't even know I had. "It's not the end of the world," my husband would reassure me, holding me as I cried. "We can adopt or just be the cool aunt and uncle." He was right, of course, but it didn't make the pain easier. We tried to make it work for a few more years, but in the end, we decided to part ways peacefully. Sometimes, love just isn't enough to bridge the distance that life creates. Meanwhile, Rachel seemed to have it all. Her social media was full of pictures of family vacations, expensive clothes, and her beautiful kids. I felt a mix of emotions, happy for her, but also envious of her ability to have children. Then, one morning, my phone exploded with messages and missed calls. Mark had found out Rachel was cheating multiple times. But that wasn't the worst part. He had done DNA tests on both of their children, and the results were devastating. Neither child was his. "Get out," I heard Mark's angry voice through the phone when Mom called to tell me what happened. "Pack your things and get out of my house. And don't expect a dime from me. They're not even my kids." Just like that, Rachel's perfect life came crashing down. 9 years of marriage ended in a single day. With no college degree, no job, and no home, Rachel had no choice but to move back in with our parents, bringing her 3 confused and heartbroken kids with her. What was she thinking? I asked Mom during one of our late-night talks. How could she do this to her kids? Mom sighed deeply. "You know your sister, Olivia. She's always lived in the moment. But now she needs our help, and the kids need our help." Our parents tried to do what they could, but their small income barely covered their own needs. As a department head at the commercial bank where I worked, I had the financial means to help. At first, I just sent money to Rachel, thinking she would use it for the kids. That illusion didn't last long. One day, I dropped by unexpectedly and found the kids wearing old, worn-out clothes while Rachel walked around in a brand-new designer outfit. "What are you doing?" I confronted her in the kitchen, keeping my voice low so the children wouldn't hear. That money was for the kids. Rachel rolled her eyes and checked her reflection in a shiny new compact mirror. "Look, Olivia, I need to look good. How else am I supposed to find another husband? You don't understand. You have your career, but I need to secure my future by spending your money on makeup and clothes." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Oh, please," she snapped, closing the compact mirror. "Not everyone can be perfect like you, Olivia, with your fancy job and high morals. I need to get back out there and find someone new. Someone with money." That was the moment I realized I couldn't trust my sister to take care of her children. From then on, I took control. Every weekend, I would pick up my niece and nephew and take them shopping. I made sure the kids had everything they needed: clothes, shoes, school supplies, and good quality winter coats, soccer cleats, and more. Soon, it became our routine. Every weekend and holiday, They spent time at my house, where they each had their own room. We went on little adventures, museums, parks, movies. I taught them how to bake cookies, helped with their homework, and listened to their stories. But then, one day, everything changed. It started like any other day. I was at work when my phone rang. Mom's voice trembled so much I could barely understand her. "Olivia, you need to come over right now. It's Rachel. She's gone." I rushed over and found Mom crying on the couch, Dad sitting nearby, his hands trembling as he held a piece of paper. Thankfully, the kids were at school, unaware that their world was about to shatter again. "She just left," Dad said, handing me the letter. "We found this morning." The letter wasn't even handwritten. It was typed. Classic Rachel, I thought bitterly. She couldn't even bother to write by hand when abandoning her own children. "Dear family, I've met the love of my life. He's everything I've ever wanted, and we're moving to another state to start fresh. He doesn't want to raise someone else's kids, and honestly, neither do I. They'll only get in the way of my happiness." I had to stop reading. My hands were shaking with anger, but what came next made my blood run cold. "Olivia, I'm actually doing you a huge favor. You can't have kids, so here you go. You can have mine. Consider it a gift from one sister to another." "How dare she?" I crumpled the paper in my fist. "How dare she use my infertility like that? And the kids, they were 12 and 11, not puppies you could just give away." Mom wiped her eyes. "What are we going to do? We can't raise them at our age, Olivia, and with your father's health." "I'll take them," I said without hesitation. "They practically live with me anyway. I'll get a lawyer first thing tomorrow." The legal process was easier than I expected, mostly because Rachel made it clear she wanted nothing to do with it. When asked to come to court for the custody hearing, she didn't even bother showing up. Instead, she sent a notarized document, a complete waiver of her parental rights. The judge reviewed my finances, my home, and the strong bond I already had with the kids. A month later, I became their legal guardian. As the years passed, Rachel's absence became just another part of our lives. No birthday cards, no calls, not even a simple text message to her children. I still remember the first Christmas after she left. Ryan, her son, had made a beautiful ceramic ornament at school. "Do you think we should mail it to Mom?" he asked, holding the delicate piece in his hands. Amy, his sister, just shook her head. "Why bother? She doesn't even know where we live anymore." Those first years were the hardest. Sometimes I'd catch them looking at old family photos, trying to understand why their mother had left. But little by little, those moments became less frequent, replaced by new memories we were making together. Mom and Dad would get occasional calls from Rachel, I recalled. They always told me in a casual way, like they were trying not to upset me. "Your sister called yesterday," Mom would say, stirring her tea as if it needed more mixing. "She's doing well. Very well, actually." "Did she ask about the kids?" I'd ask, even though I already knew the answer. Mom would look away. She was in a hurry. You know how it is. But I did catch glimpses of Rachel's life, by accident. I'd walk into the living room, and Dad would quickly minimize his browser window. But not before I caught a glimpse of Rachel posing on a yacht in Hawaii, standing in front of a mansion on Shelter Island, leaning against the hood of a Ferrari. "Must be nice," I muttered one day as Mom quickly closed the laptop. Living the high life while her kids wear hand-me-downs. "She's doing well, Olivia," Mom started to say, but I cut her off. "No, really. She has enough money for designer handbags, but couldn't send Ryan a card when he made the honor roll. Couldn't spare a few dollars for Amy's dance recital costume." Eventually, I stopped looking, stopped asking, stopped wondering. My life became a careful balance of work and family, a routine I followed every day. And somehow, without Rachel in the picture, we managed just fine. During the day, I worked hard at the bank. At night, I helped with homework. Weekends were busy with soccer games, dance recitals, and science fairs. Dating. That was the last thing on my mind. A few men came and went, but none understood that my kids came first. Yes, my kids, because that's what they had become. Despite, or maybe because of, Rachel's absence, they thrived. Ryan was great with numbers. Even as a kid, he helped balance my checkbook and invested his allowance in stocks. By the time he was 17, he was already considering finance as a career. Amy, on the other hand, loved to argue. Every dinner conversation turned into a fun courtroom debate. "You should have been a lawyer," she told me one night while we worked on her college applications. I smiled. One lawyer in the family is enough. Besides, who would help your brother understand finance? Mom, Ryan called from the kitchen somewhere along the way. He had started calling me that. You know I'm better at finance than you are. He wasn't wrong. By the time college acceptance letters arrived, Ryan had already secured an internship at a top financial firm. Emmy, meanwhile, had her pick of the best law schools in the country. Paying for their education wasn't easy. Prestigious schools don't come cheap. I sold my vacation home, took extra consulting jobs on weekends, and never regretted a single penny. Seeing them succeed made every sacrifice worth it. No mansion or yacht, no matter how fancy, could compare to the pride I felt when they called me Mom. Her version of events felt like something straight out of a soap opera. According to her, I had stolen her children through the courts, twisted them against her with lies and manipulation. She claimed that I had forced her to leave town with my bullying, all while using her children as pawns to elevate my social standing. In her post, she painted herself as the victim, accusing me of taking advantage of a tough time in her life to steal her babies. She described how I, her own sister who couldn't have children, seized an opportunity to play the hero. And now, according to her, I was demanding expensive gifts as payment for my so-called generosity. She insisted she never loved them. She just wanted to appear good in front of her wealthy friends. The post garnered hundreds of likes, comments, and shares. But the part that hurt most was seeing my mom's name among those who liked it. My own mother, who had witnessed every sacrifice, every late night, every struggle, had sided with Rachel's lies. At midnight, my phone rang. It was Ryan, his voice tight with anger. We saw the post. Mom, Amy's been crying for hours. How dare she twist everything like this? I took a deep breath, trying to calm him. It's okay, sweetheart. People who matter know the truth. But before I could say more, Amy's voice cut in. No, it's not okay. We're not letting her get away with this. I paused. She was right. Remember that letter, Mom? Amy continued. The one you kept? I nodded. Of course I remember. It's in the home office, tucked away in a fireproof box with their birth certificates and other important papers. I had kept it not out of spite, but because a mother's instinct is to protect her children, even from the pain they haven't yet seen coming. Rand's voice came through again, insistent. We need to tell our side, the real story. Not her version where she's the victim. The next morning, I sat at my computer, the letter lying beside me. Its paper had yellowed with age, but the words remained as sharp as ever. I began typing. I wrote about a mother who left her children with nothing but cold, typed letters telling them they would only get in the way of her happiness. I recalled middle school graduations, where an empty chair always stood out, and college acceptance letters never shared because she hadn't bothered to ask for their address. I then scanned the letter, the final heartless farewell, and posted it, side by side with my words. The date stamp was clear, the signature unmistakable. Within hours, the post went viral. Family members who had sided with Rachel were now sending shocked messages. We had no idea. How could she? Ryan's comment followed. I was 12 when our mother decided we weren't worth keeping. 12 when she traded us for a man who didn't want another man's kids. But we weren't abandoned. We were blessed. Our aunt became our mother, not by blood, but by choice. Every day, she chose us, and now we choose her. Amy's comment came next, to the woman who gave birth to us. You call yourself our mother, but where were you? Where were you when I had my first heartbreak? When Ryan broke his arm? When we graduated? Our real mother was there, our Aunt Olivia, who became simply Mom. She earned that title through years of love, sacrifice, and unwavering support. My parents remained silent. No comments, no likes, no private messages. Their silence spoke volumes. But Ryan wasn't done. A few days later, his voice rang with excitement when he called me. Mom, I've been working on something. I think it's time to show everyone what family really means. The video he created brought tears to my eyes. Set to soft music, it was a collection of moments from our life together. Photos and video clips from family albums and old home recordings. There I was, cheering at Ryan's first soccer game, helping Amy with her science project, laughing over homemade birthday cakes, Christmas mornings in pajamas. Their high school and college graduations, our life built on love, not blood. A family made by choice, not chance. Ryan softly said, "Post it. Let this be the final word." The video ended with a clip from my 52nd birthday, the three of us hugging in front of the Mercedes, pure happiness shining on our faces. The caption was simple. Family is built with love, not blood. Thank you, Mom, for choosing us every single day. The morning after we posted the video, my phone rang. It was my mother. I almost let it go to voicemail, but out of habit, I answered. How could you do this to your sister? She demanded, her voice shaking with anger. Humiliating her like that in front of everyone. You've always been jealous of her, always trying to prove you're better. I interrupted, surprised at how calm I felt. Stop right there. I didn't humiliate anyone. I just told the truth, with proof. It's time to let go of the past. Olivia, what's done is done. You need to take those posts down and apologize to your sister. She's living with us now. She has nothing left. I stared at the framed photo on my desk, Ryan and Amy at their college graduations, both hugging me tightly, their faces full of love and pride. No, Mom, I said firmly. I won't apologize for telling the truth, and I won't pretend the past didn't happen just because it's easier for you and Rachel. Olivia, you made your choice, my mom said coldly. Yes, I did, I responded. You chose your side when you liked her lies about me. When you hid her social media posts from me. When you made excuses for her walking away from her own children. Ryan and Amy are my children. That was my choice. And unlike Rachel, I kept my commitment. The line went dead. She had hung up. And somehow, I knew that it was the last conversation we'd ever have. That was 7 months ago. Through family, I heard that Rachel is still living with our parents, trying to get back on her feet. Ryan and Amy don't visit their grandparents anymore. They can't bear the thought of running into the woman who abandoned them. Life has settled into a new normal. I see my children often. Thursday dinners are still a tradition, but now with a smaller family. Ryan's business is thriving, and Amy gave me news that had me floating for days. Mom, she said, holding out her hand, eyes sparkling as she showed me a beautiful engagement ring. Will you help me plan the wedding? I want everything to be perfect. Tears filled my eyes as I pulled her into a hug. Of course. Now my dining room table is covered with bridal magazines and fabric swatches. Yesterday, as we debated flower arrangements, Amy suddenly went quiet. What is it, sweetheart? I asked. She smiled softly. I was just thinking, someday, when I have kids, they're going to have the best grandma in the world. I smiled, my heart swelling. You'll be amazing with them, just like you were with us. Life really does come full circle. Years ago, doctors told me I would never have children of my own. They were wrong. I may not have given birth to them, but I ended up with 3 incredible kids who chose me just as much as I chose them. And now, as I help my daughter plan her wedding, I look forward to the next chapter of our story, one filled with even more love, more joy, and maybe, just maybe, the sound of little feet running around, calling me grandma.